the case of diamond, it's a really beautiful tetrahedral arrangement, which means that it's the most compacted in principle that it could possibly be. And that's why diamonds are the hardest thing in nature. So that diamonds are something, in some sense, very common, because carbon's the most common element, right? I mean, we're carbon. The wood is carbon. Every carbon is all around us in this room. It's the most abundant element on Earth in our reality.
Sound thing?
And
where's the sound thing for the television?
Over there. Carbon is also the main ingredient of all living things, right? Diamond is the most, in my mind, simple and perfected form of carbon, and it's a limit case because it's the hardest thing on Earth, right? I mean, that's easy to just kind of listen to that and hear that, but if you really think about it, there is one thing that's the hardest thing on Earth, and it happens to be carbon, which in its non-crystalline form is the softest thing. It's black, like the lamp black on the ceiling, that's just pure carbon. So that's black and opaque and soft, and diamond over here is hard and sparkling and rainbows and faceted. It's an amazing spectrum, from that spectrum. Also over here, it could be an industrial tool. Diamond in porous. Well, it's not gem quality, is an industrial tool. So it's like really masculine. And over here, it's the symbol of love, and it's the most precious material on this hand. So you go from utility to luxury, right? So it's hard to believe, but you're going to see something that very few people have seen, because nobody burns a diamond, right? I mean, who would do that? That a scientist doesn't have a diamond, and the jeweler's not thinking about burning. So that makes it a really special moment in just that you're going to actually see something that very few people have seen, period, on Earth ever. It's only been possible the last 100 years, since it was possible to liquefy oxygen. Okay, that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to make some liquid oxygen. And this gets into, I do this, I do like a science lecture for kids with the diamond water thing. And since I don't happen to have any liquid oxygen, it'll be a little science thing for you guys too. Because normally I could have it made, but since I just arrived in Hawaii, I don't have it made. And so I have to make it. Okay.
So what are you doing now? This is liquid?
Right. This is oxygen.
Okay.
And this tank.
Does liquid oxygen burn at a high degree centigrade?
No, liquid oxygen doesn't burn at all.
It doesn't.
It only fuels burning, right?
Okay.
So if you don't have something to burn, you could put a mat. I mean, if you put a flame to liquid oxygen, it doesn't do anything. I mean, there's 20% oxygen in this room, and there's 70% nitrogen, which is kind of interesting to me. Everything we're dealing with is the most common stuff in this room. The nitrogen is all around us, the oxygen is all around us, the carbon is all around us, and we're just going to mess with it. We're going to do some extreme things to it. So, all right, this is the liquid nitrogen. Right. And it's really, really cold. It's minus 186 degrees centigrade. And this is just a big thermos jug. The big thing I'm pouring from is a big thermos jug. And the thing I'm pouring into is the thermos jug that you are familiar with. Okay. Yeah. A big bag of tricks. Okay, now, how when you breathe on a window or something, that cloud of condensation there, right? That's because the water vapor in your lungs hits that colder surface and it condenses. So that's exactly what we're going to do with the oxygen, which is a gas in this bottle. We're going to put it, this is a cylindrical window, right? And this is the inside where we're standing and blowing the breath into that window. This is going to be blowing that. Alright, now this is just going to be down in the bottom of that tube. That's my mouth down there blowing this oxygen onto the very cold surface of that inside of that tube. Alright. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to put a little bit of oxygen into that tube. Okay. I'm just filling the tube with oxygen right now. Okay, now you're going to see this bag inflate. Now, when that bag collapses, that means that the oxygen in the tube has turned from a gas to a liquid, just the little bit that's in there. Yeah. So we know that we can add a little.
So by cooling it down in the nitrogen, it cools the oxygen.
And condenses it into a liquid.
I see.
And this bubbling now that's going on is the energy that's being stolen from the nitrogen to change the state of the oxygen. You know, if that was just sitting there, there wouldn't be that much activity, right? But since we're actually putting this hot, warm oxygen into this cold nitrogen, it's having to, you know, like cool. And we probably have enough right now. I'm going to make a little bit extra. I can only keep it for. Let's see. I thought I had. Oh, here. I can only keep it for a little while because it's just like your hot coffee gets cold, the cold oxygen will get hot and it'll turn back into a gas. But I can keep it for a little while in here. Okay. There it is. different, those are industrial. And these are gem quality. Let's see here.
When you say gem quality, not necessarily to be made into rings and things like that?
Well,
Or
yeah,
they
they've
are?
already been faceted and
These
cut.
are already
Those
faceted?
have been.
I see.
Now you see when I turn off the oxygen, we get less activity, right?
Uh-huh.
Because it doesn't have all the work to do that it had to do in trying to change the state of that oxygen.
Right. All right.
Okay, so
Uh-huh.
it's I'm going to show you. If you can, did you see it? It's blue. Can you see it?
Mm-hmm. What is that fluid? Is that nitrogen?
No, this
Liquid
is liquid
is
oxygen.
oxygen.
Liquid oxygen.
Yeah. Okay, the nitrogen is still here. What's left of it.
Nitrogen also will evaporate, yes, at a slower rate?
Oh yeah, it's half of it is gone that I put in the thermos already
Right.
by evaporation. Boiling, really. Okay. There's that. Now, we have a nice little amount of liquid oxygen there. And we have the diamonds. And now, we know that when we burn carbon, it just like when we breathe in air, we burn carbon in our bodies and we give out carbon dioxide, right? So when you light a fire, you're causing carbon to be transformed into carbon dioxide. So obviously when we burn the diamond, the gas that comes off is going to be carbon dioxide. I like to think of the diamond actually coming to life during this time, that it's doing what we're doing, it's burning, right? It's transforming. The diamond would continue to be diamond forever. Nothing, it doesn't chemically change. It's the hardest thing on earth, so that the diamonds that are millions of years old that have been in the rivers and alluvial deposits are still, you can still see the crystal structure, because no matter how long they're rubbed against other materials in nature, they stay diamond. So that it's a permanent situation, and which is another limit case. It's something that will always be. So that when we change this diamond today, when we transform it, it's a really unique thing. I mean, it's something that can't happen by itself. It has to be done by consciousness. It has to be done by man. So now, just see. Did we bring? I don't know. Did I bring in the water? Maybe I forgot the water.
See, I'm glad to see we even have a fire extinguisher in view.
I poured a little out so I have some bubbling room.
Okay. Now this is like making seltzer, isn't it? Sort
Yeah,
of?
same exact thing. Although there's not enough carbon dioxide to carbonate it, but it's exactly what's happening. The carbon dioxide chemically reacts quickly, vigorously with the water to form carbonic acid. That's nothing scary. That's just what is in your Coca-Cola or sparkling water, champagne, beer, or whatever.
Right.
It's all the same thing. Although in that case, the carbon dioxide is pushed in beyond the chemically reacting phase until it becomes dissolved in the water, and that's what makes the bubbles. That's why you have the effervescence. So
So it takes one carbon atom for every 2 oxygen atoms
uh,
out of the diamond?
yes.
Okay.
So you can think of those carbon atoms that have been they've been sitting there carbon in the diamond lattice for a billion years.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden they're going to have a buddy on each arm, right? And they're going to be independent. They can do stuff now. They can combine with other things in the world. We're really releasing them from the collective, like the Borg, right? And now they're going to become individuals. Okay. Now, this is just a test tube. I put it in the glass so that because it's so cold, it'll immediately get condensation on it, so it's harder to see the reaction. But this way, it doesn't get any condensation on it. Now, I have never used this torch, so I'm hoping that we'll have success.
Okay.
And we want a diamond. You want to pick a diamond?
This one?
Oh, how many do you want to pick? Just one. Yeah, pick 2. Because who knows, sometimes I drop one.
So the darker ones are the industrial and the lighter ones are gemstone quality. Okay.
Okay. Now, once I start burning the diamond, I'm going to put this in the top, right? And that's going to force the gases to go through the water. So the diamond's going to be burning, the water's going to be bubbling, and a transformation that's been waiting billions of years is going to happen right before your eyes. Don't forget to notice what you're seeing. Let's see, we have to have this, and we have to put some of this in here. Okay, so you got a nice little diamond here.
Did you have to make the diamonds really small for it to work, or just?
No, the biggest one I've ever burned is maybe 1/4 of a carat.
Okay. There you go.
All right, look at that. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, right? So it is literally burning up. I mean, when this is done, there will be no diamond left. It'll be completely gasified, vaporized. See the bubbles? Carbon dioxide going into the water.
Is the water drinkable? I guess it is.
Of course. I mean, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Boom. You want to see it one more time?
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And the unique thing, these diamonds are changing after billions of years, and
In
by
this
putting them
room-
together, you combine them.
In this room today.
Wow.
Which is, to me, an amazing thing. I mean,
Yeah.
it's spectacular. it's, you know, it's a demonstration of our genius, you know, I mean, that we got to the place that we can do this. It's kind of, to me, it signals the change of an age. I mean, you know, we're talking, you know, millions of years, so, you know, that 100 years is a sudden change, you know, so that, to me, this symbolizes a change from the, you know, into the diamond age, right? This is the ultimate campfire, the most, you know, the ultimate way that you can sit here by a fire, by the fireside. Now we're going to move into different kinds of, you know, ways of burning. And we're not going to be burning carbon anymore. That's past history. This is it. We finished that, right? We burned diamond. So.
Will it crystallize in the water?
Here's the truth of the matter is, look at this. See how it's, see the white there and the cloudiness of what's left of the liquid oxygen? It was perfectly clear. Now, what do you think that is in there? I'm going to tell you because you're not going to know. All we were dealing with is oxygen, carbon, and that's it, and fire, right? I mean, the heat of combustion. So it has to be oxygen or carbon in there.
Yeah.
You know? And what it actually is carbon. It's CO2 frozen. That's, you know, that's what dry ice is.
Yeah.
So you're looking at diamond dry ice right now.
Wow.
You know, some of it went as vapor, but some of it's still trapped in the oxygen because the oxygen is much colder than it needs to be. Dry ice is only -70, you know, C. So, and also interestingly, CO2 goes directly from a gas into a solid. It doesn't go through a liquid phase. But we're going to, we're not going to miss that diamond that's in there.
Does the diamond in the water crystallize at all?
No.
It stays.
It just says carbon dioxide. It's just there's a chemical reaction to carbonic acid, and I don't really know the formula for that.
Okay.
I should probably look that up.
So now you're pouring
I'm just pouring what's left of the liquid oxygen in there, so that whatever was actually in the oxygen is going to go into the water.
Okay.
And then I'm going to dissolve what's left in the tube just by putting some water in it. There we go. And you can feel how cold that is, even with the separation. You know,
Yeah.
just the coldness of it. All right. Now we have diamond water.
Wow.
That's the process of just making the water. Right? And then there's a lot of other aspects of that for me, because of doing this and being associated with diamonds and thinking about diamonds and all the myriad of ways that they're symbolic, I've come up with a lot of other stuff having to do with that amazing structure of the diamond that makes it the hardest thing on Earth, and the fact of the crystal structure of diamond is really this. If you just think of that one side, that this is the way that the diamond atoms are arranged in the diamond lattice.
Like a bunch of tetrahedrons.
Yeah. And then this is the octahedron in the middle, which is what diamond is the crystal form that diamond takes in nature. This is, it happens to be A beautiful little diamond crystal. I don't know how good your eyes are, but if you could look at that, you'll see that's it, that it's this. It's an octahedron. And the diamonds form in that shape. And that hasn't been cut or anything. That's exactly how it was, how it formed in nature. Pretty amazing, isn't it, Jason? Take a look at that baby. We can take it out of that bag.
Okay, that's okay, I'm just looking. See what can be seen.
You could
Wow.
You could put it in there if you want to see it.
Oh, I'm good.
You're good.
Yeah.
So
that's
the
So it's the explanation about the process that goes with it that creates more of the fascination. But what we just saw is a unique experience never to be duplicated again with those diamonds, because those diamonds, once they've changed to gas, have no way. Do they have a way of getting solid again?
no.
None at all.
Well, sure. If you could recover that very carbon and separate it from the oxygen, you could recrystallize the carbon under tremendous heat and pressure in a diamond press, which is how they make synthetic diamonds.
Right.
So you could take the same carbon and
So it's,
restructure it back to diamonds.
so that
But
process can be reversed. That's what synthetic is all about.
Right.
I
Right.
see. Wow.
So
But that carbon atom exists and ultimately it could become a diamond again. It's sort of alchemical.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So you're doing
It could.
alchemy here.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Where's the gold?
Earth, air, fire, and water. I mean, we dealt with it. The diamond is the earth, the oxygen is the air, the fire, and here's the water, and also the liquid nature of the gases that we use.
Look what's right behind you in the poster. Very funny.
Yeah.
The wizard.
Oh, yeah. That's great. So,
Well, thank you
Is
for
it the
that.
liquid oxygen that's burning the diamond while it's in that chamber?
yes.
But you have to heat it up to a certain temperature to put it in the
Right.
liquid oxygen?
Yeah, if you just drop it in, if it's not white hot, and
Okay.
that is a problem until I discovered that butane is a few degrees hotter than propane, because I can't bring an oxygen. I can't carry, otherwise you have to have a torch with gas and an oxygen to get the flame.
Uh-huh.
And then, so I didn't like having to do that in public, so I tried to use a propane torch, and it wouldn't quite do it. It couldn't get the diamond quite hot enough to catch.
But
But
butane.
butane is a few hundred degrees hotter, and it was just enough to work.
Wow.
And I'm happy to say my torch worked.
Where did you get the ideas to first do this?
It was just a 5-minute thought process. I just thought, what diamonds are pure carbon. What happens? The diamonds must burn. I remembered that they burn in liquid oxygen from my studies as a gemologist, and that it was a beautiful thing to see. That was stated, and then I thought, well, what happens when a diamond burns? It produces carbon dioxide. What do we do with carbon dioxide? And my brain said Coca-Cola, and then the next thing my brain said was diamond water. So, and then I Googled it, and there was no such thing, and no one had ever put. I would be surprised if anybody had ever done it. I mean, even with the fact that it wasn't recorded, I don't think that anyone would. It was just too simple. It was too obvious of a thing, and I patented it, which was very surprising to me that I was able to get a patent. But the patent officer was a young guy, and he really liked it. He asked me to call him up because he couldn't call me. But he said, "This is awesome." He says, "I deal with these complicated chemical formulas all day long, and this is just great. It's so simple." So anyway.
Well, I look forward to us sitting and talk. We'll talk more about this in a separate interview in beautiful green Maui. What do you think?
All right, Jason. Yay for Maui. First time ever.
Well,
for
thank
Maui.
you for doing this for us.
It was the 81st time.
Wow.
I have a logbook of every time I need a pen. We're going
We're
to log
going to
this
put
one
in the logbook. do? Wow.
And,
Oh, that would be
two individual
beautiful.
crystals, and they're coming together and they're dancing and there's a lot of symbolism in it.
Is the movement from the carbon?
Well, it's just
Why does it move?
it's the boiling of the oxygen.
okay. Okay.
The oxygen
Okay.
is changing phase, and it's boiling away in there, and so it's just dancing around in the boiling water.
So 11/7/11. This is the 81st time.
Yeah.
Well, that's thank you for doing it for us. I'm sure that our viewers are going to appreciate watching this process and the conversation about all that you're doing. Oh, there's one more thing we want to say. Don't try this at home. Don't go, the kids, don't take your diamond rings from your mom and do this process. Besides the fact that you could blow up or freeze, right? Those are our choices. So we'll be good.
Mom would blow up.
That's right. Mom would blow up when you melt her ring. Thank you, sir.
To the uniqueness of Maui arts and what
Music.
is it? What is-
Maui Arts and Music Association.
There you
Dream
go.
makers.
Dream makers. Two dream makers. May they live forever.
Hey. Do I turn into a superhero now?
Well, if placebo effect is at least 20% of medicine.
Oh, that's good then.